Hey, we're back. I think
Hi.
it's starting to.
Yep.
Hey, we're back
There you
now.
All right.
It's video 6. We're having such a good time chatting.
Yeah. Honestly, talking with somebody else who is from the cult with me, who is willing to be open and like just honest about feelings and not judgmental is very therapeutic.
Yeah.
And you get aha moments. So, I don't know if people like our videos or if this will help anybody, but I get therapy from it. So guess what? This is worth it, right?
Yeah.
So, where did we leave off on the other video about
Where children were a blessing, and why couldn't we be on birth control if the kids were just going to be aborted anyway?
Yes. Yes.
And, I've been in arguments with some people about did Rama even know that the kid was going to be aborted? Well, let me tell you something.
The man was not stupid.
Mm-mm. But also, in my own life, were you ever taught about sex?
No.
How old were you before you found out about what sex was?
When I was molested.
Did you know how old were you when you found out how babies were made? Was that when you were molested, or was that separate?
No, that was separate. I found out how babies were made when I was younger and we went over to an Amish farm, and uh I saw a horse, and the little Amish girl informed me what was hanging from the horse and told me that is how babies are made. And then later on, I want to say there was another time that we were there that we saw like I think it was a cow giving birth or some animal giving
Did
birth.
you know the concept, though? Did you know that, like, a man and a woman had to actually get together?
No. No.
Nor did I. Do you know how old I was before I knew that?
No.
19.
How did you discover it? I'm afraid to ask.
I was pregnant.
Yeah. I didn't know. Well, I would say I didn't know what the word to the act was. It wasn't until I want to say, in basic training that the realization hit me of what I experienced when I was that age, and I was able to put a label or a term to it. Do you understand what I'm saying? And that is when I was able to fully understand. Yeah. I still
I think the reason that the kids weren't supposed to be taught was to keep us stupid.
Well, not only that, but we weren't allowed to hug. We weren't allowed to hold hands. We weren't even allowed to, if you were old enough to walk, your mothers did not carry you.
I know.
I got my ass beat
for carrying. I got my ass beat for carrying my brother after he got run over by a car and had his pelvis broken. You know what happens when your pelvis is broken? You can't walk.
Yep.
But because he was 4,
you got yelled at. Yes.
I got in trouble.
Yes. Yes. And it was really stupid stuff that you got in trouble for. I got in trouble one time for a candy wrapper being next to my feet at the end of the dirt road. And I got beat up with 2x4s and a garden hose because Rama told a couple of the teenage boys to go take care of me because I lied and said that the candy wrapper was not mine. It was like, how was I supposed to get candy? Where the hell was I supposed to get candy? I was like 7, 8 years old. Like, I just, like, that's the kind of stuff you never
too
knew
bad
what
we
to
couldn't
say.
have just been like smart asses and go, oh, yes, Rama, I started a candy factory back in the
Yes, right?
new building. I just forgot to tell you about it.
I wonder what would have happened if we had done that. We would have been beat up.
Yeah, we would have been put in the barrel for 3 weeks instead of a weekend.
A weekend. Yeah. Yeah. It's just, yeah. And I know, like, my one sister tells me that, well, and I kind of remember it because somebody else confirmed the story as well. We were there one, I believe it was a Friday, and he chased her around for like 15, 20 minutes with the electric cord, the electric wire, and whipped her from like head to like knees, and was telling her that the reason why she was being whipped because her spirit was lying. That's why she was in trouble, and that's why she was being whipped. And the thing is my parents had to give her a shower and a bath. They had to have seen it, and it wasn't just a 1 or 2 marks. It was, and
I
nothing was.
know.
I remember my one of my brothers being put in the barrel because he had a very bad temper and got into fights a lot and got into a fight, and he got put into a barrel. And I remember he was there for at least 2 days. And my biological father had to stand and wait to get permission, and stood for like 3 hours to get permission from Rama to get him out and take him home. Like, everything was just. So the other thing that I wanted to talk to you about, because we could go on and on and on about those kind of stories, and sometimes I feel like I shouldn't say other people's stories except my own. But so how did you get your name? Who gave you your name?
Rama.
Okay. And I think pretty much all of us were named by Rama.
Yeah. Yeah, it was sort of the ritual, because I'm not sure where it started. I don't know if it was Rama's idea or if it was like Glenn's idea. Because there was from my understanding, there were things that like Rama would like suggest or say, and then like Glenn would make them law.
Okay.
Or
well, I know that happened to quite a few different things, i.e. chocolate milk. Somebody was like allergic to chocolate milk and told Rama that they had stomach issues with chocolate milk, and he said, well, don't drink chocolate milk. And someone heard it, and the next thing we know, chocolate milk was a sin and you couldn't drink it.
Well,
seriously, I had never been so mad
anyway,
on my life about that kind of shit, because
from the very, very beginning, and being one of the first kids, but there was a kid born before me,
Okay.
but they were conceived before the cult started.
Okay.
And so Rama named her.
Okay.
But yeah,
Now, did he have some of the kids that were already born and that came with their parents into the cult? Did he rename some of them?
some of them.
Okay.
Some were renamed, and some were renamed just within the cult, and some were renamed completely legally.
Okay. All right.
Um,
I also know that there was some families that he told to change their last names too, to a more like
that was later on
later on. Okay.
when he started pretending to be Jewish.
Okay.
Um,
All right.
yeah, it became this ritual that every time a child was born, the next weekend on the Sunday, the father would ask Rama to pray a blessing over the child. And then, so then the father would go to where the wife was and get the baby. And, you know, you could always tell that the father didn't take care of the baby much because the father would awkwardly carry this bundle
The
of
baby.
wiggling thing, you know,
Yes. Yes.
to Rama's feet. And
Yes.
um, most of the time, Rama used olive oil.
I was gonna say olive oil was the go-to blessing.
Yeah. Very rarely did a mom do that.
Okay.
She only did it if she didn't have a husband who came. But there was one husband who didn't come, but he would come on the weekends just to get his baby blessed by Rama.
Okay.
Obviously, there were special cases, like sometimes Rama would refuse to name the child as punishment
Mm-hmm.
to the
Yep.
parents, or the child had an extended stay in the hospital. So Rama would pray over the phone.
Or something. Yes.
Or some parents would take it upon themselves to name their own child after they were dismayed at the name he chose for their previous child.
Yeah. When I tell people some of our names, they're like, "What? Huh?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you have no idea."
But mostly, yeah, Rama named us all.
Yeah.
Some of
I
us
do.
some of us who have changed our names since to something other than our birth name. It's in rebellion to Rama, not our birth parents.
Yes. Yes. Example, i.e. me. I changed the spelling of my name when I
Yeah.
got adopted, so it wasn't like, I hated the way he like had the spelling of my name.
Yeah, same.
So I changed it to the way I wanted it to be spelled. And I added a middle name because I didn't have a middle name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hated the way that my name was spelled too. And I was always assumed to be a male. Like, so much that when I went to college, I had to prove that I was female. I had to prove because, they were like, we need proof that you signed up for selective service.
Huh? What?
Yeah. I'm like, what? And like, when I was born, my parents were sent a bill for a freaking circumcision. So my
Oh,
dad had to call
your
them
name
and
was
say,
spelled.
we had a little girl. And so that's what I lived my whole life with the name that was looked like a boy's name.
Yeah.
And so when I got older, I did talk to my dad about it, and he was like, I don't see why not. You didn't have a choice in the matter. Makes you happy, change it. So I changed it. Changed it so that it looked like Michelle.
Yeah.
But it also is a nod to my grandpa, who's from Italy, because that's how the way I spell my name now is how Michael is pronounced and spelled in Italy.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I just did that out of spite to say. I mean, I like my name because it's unique and it's pretty.
And I chose that because remember how Rama used to make fun of my aunt because she was Italian? And then he would call me Little
Oh,
and then
yeah.
my aunt's name
Yes.
because we were Pope's people and we were like junk Italians and all that.
Oh, yes. He had a
So I
thing.
took,
He had a
so I
hatred.
took the Italian name.
He did. He had a true hatred for anything Catholic. So anything like that, anything that had anything to do with any kind of
That's
Catholic.
why we couldn't eat pizza
Okay.
and spaghetti.
Okay.
Spaghetti. Remember he said
Yeah.
spaghetti.
Yeah. No, we didn't eat any of that kind of stuff. No. Split pea soup.
I mean, I like split peas, but I like it with ham.
No, you sinful heathen. That's okay. I'm cooking up a whole big, huge thing of bacon here. And just as soon as we're done
You
here,
know what? Jesus came to earth and blessed everything.
Yeah. And honestly, if you do your research and you do your history, there's a lot of rules in the Bible that were meant for that time because they didn't have the resources we have today.
To
And
cook it, to store it, to cook it.
yes. And there's many things in the Bible that are very barbaric and crazy. And we don't do those kind of things. So I don't understand why everybody's stuck on that kind of stuff either. You know, like, okay, all right. I understand
I
why
mean,
before you didn't do
we
that.
don't do like whipping posts in the center of the town square anymore.
More, yes.
I mean, we should do
Well,
that.
Rama did. How many times did he tell somebody to take somebody out, take care of it? And it was pretty much a whipping post, right? It was a beam.
Oh, I know. I poor guy. I feel bad for him.
2x4s and belts. Just crazy. It's just really, truly.
Every time you do that now,
I'm
you're
gonna
gonna think of
myself.
me.
Yes.
And also.
And yeah,
And
likely too.
also.
Likely, I say that a lot. Likely. But is there anything else? I can't think of anything else
Yeah, I
that
was
we.
gonna say that when I got pregnant with my first kid,
Mhm.
my mom insisted I had to tell Rama. Fuck, I didn't want to, but I did. So I tell him, And first thing he asks me is the father a black guy? I said no. And he says, okay, good. And he goes on some rant about how our cultures are different and it would never work, or I don't know, something. And then he says that I need to make the father pay child support. Okay. And then he tells me that I should have used a rubber. I hear him. In my mind, I'm saying, what the fuck's a rubber?
Yeah. Yeah. We didn't even see people hug, kiss. I mean,
Like,
I didn't even
this
know
is, I was 19 and I was like a year out of the cult. I knew what sex was. I had no idea how babies were made. I thought all you had to do was sit by each other and you decided to get pregnant. And if you decided no, that was enough to not get pregnant.
pregnant.
Because how many times, because I remember sitting in like services and wondering how the families knew that all of these kids were these two people's children. Because we all sat next to each other.
Yeah.
People can laugh at that.
It's true though. You're a kid, you're wondering this stuff.
But we weren't taught.
No. There was one time I saw my biological parents touch. Like grab hands, a quick peck, like that's it. And
I never
every
saw it.
single one of us went, ooh. And that was the one and only time we ever saw anything like that. No words like I love you were spoken, nothing like that. You weren't given hugs, nothing like that. We didn't know. And you didn't dare go into the bathroom on one another, except for the little kids when they were little. But once you got older, you didn't go into the bathroom on one another, and you didn't dare come out of the bathroom without any clothes on or anything like that.
Right.
Very private, very, I mean, nobody knew for how long I was duct taping my boobs because I didn't want any boobs. They didn't know it because nobody came into the bathroom. You were very private. Like nobody checked on you. The only reason why they found out that I was even having my period was because I smelled bad and one of the teachers said something to, yeah. And that's how they discovered that I had my period.
I
Because
had my
didn't know
period.
what it was.
I had my period for 2 years before my mom even knew.
I think I had 2 of them, but 2 months before she found out. I didn't know what they were. I thought I was
I didn't either. I thought I was dying because me and another boy, we were tasked with taking care of our younger siblings during the meetings.
Okay.
And so we would sit and talk. So, our siblings would like sleep or we would give them bottles and we would,
Yeah.
And so when they were sleeping or whatever, we would chat it up and be friends. And
Yeah.
I thought God was punishing me and I was going to die. And I didn't tell a soul. So much of my life has been suffering by myself, not telling anybody.
Yeah, because you're afraid of what will happen, what the repercussions will be.
So I didn't tell anybody for 2 years.
That's crazy. I'm sorry.
And then when my mom did catch it, it was when it was like the full blown, all right, you're headed into womanhood, well, whatever. And that was the weekend we were like, I don't know, hauling rocks like they were jackhammering.
Mm-hmm.
They were jackhammering, ripping up cement and whatever. And we were like hauling these big jagged pieces of cement with rods hanging out from them, hauling them behind the new building and the annex to dump them in some hole down yonder. And Jen was like, I was telling her, and she was like, I think your oldest sister was with us too. And she goes, oh yeah, blah, 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 blah. That was the first time I was like, oh, okay. She was the one that told me that it was like normal. My mom didn't. She just gave me a bag of shit and said, here, use this.
Yeah. I do remember after I got my period or whatever, when like I was in a very emotional child. Now granted, they didn't know why I was all emotional and like that stuff, but I remember, or my siblings would say that I would go hot and cold really fast.
You're bipolar.
Yeah. No, I just don't take any bullshit, and I stand up when I think you're full of bullshit. People don't like that. So, and I've always been like that, apparently, and I guess I never saw myself that, like, when I look back at my younger self, I don't see myself that way, nor did I think of myself that way. But now hearing other people describe me, I can see why they thought those things. But that is not how I felt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there was a lot of times I put a brave face on, but I put a brave face on a lot of times because I had to protect my younger brother or siblings. And yeah, there was a lot of times that I was put on the spot, and I knew if I backed down, it would be hell to pay. And, because some of the grown men who enjoyed beating up on younger people or younger kids, Rama would encourage that behavior behind other people's or behind certain people's backs. So there were certain people in the group that did not see Rama do that kind of stuff. And then there were other people where he would almost encourage them to do that kind of stuff. So beating up little kids, that kind of stuff. I remember taking a stand and not letting it happen, and Rama catching me take a stand and almost pitting me against the grown adults, like wanting us to kind of fight to see what would happen.
You
And I
rebel.
made the comment of, well, he just got beat up, so all I have to do is punch him in his ribs. And I remember Rama's face very shocked. And he turned and looked at the person and asked, "What do you mean?" And then he found out that he had gotten beat up by some of the older boys earlier. And so then Rama kind of laughed about it. And I made a comment to me like, let's see it, or have at it, or he's all yours, along those lines, pretty much giving me permission to beat him up, and then continuing on his way up the hill to
Wow.
the chicken or turkey cooper up over the hill, because we were down by the annex when that happened. And he used to walk, with the whole group of people behind him. And as he was walking down, I didn't realize that he saw us. And he was watching the whole thing as they were kind of walking down. Apparently, I was too angry to pay attention to my surroundings. I was just focused on the one human being that I wanted to kill. Because I don't know. How can people be so cruel? Like, really, truly. How can people, I know I just said it. How can people be so cruel? What's in them that makes them,
No conscience.
because these children were not doing anything wrong. They weren't being naughty. They were playing with an ant hill, like the little ant hills.
Mm-hmm.
They were taking sand and they were pushing it up so that way the ants would walk in the path that they wanted them to go. And that was all that they were doing. And they had been sitting there for a little while. It wasn't like they had just sat down or they weren't supposed to be. They were there for a little bit. We were doing something down there. Um, I know there was like a group of people down there and they had just happened to kind of like wander down and hang out with us. And no one was really paying them any attention, but we knew that they were there. And this other person came walking up. This man came walking up, one of the men, and kicked the anthill with his foot and like ruined what they did and kicked sand in the boy's face. And then he made them stick their tongue out to where, the hole where you can see the hole when you pull the sand away, you can see the one hole where the ants are coming out. And he made them put their tongue down there and let the ants crawl up in their mouth. And that is when I got mad. And I don't remember what I was doing at the annex, but I saw him do that. And I went and picked them up and made them spit out the ants and sent them away. And I sent them, the shortcut through the annex or whatever. to go to the house, and I sent them that way to get them away. And right as they went around the corner to disappear, that's when Rama had like stopped, and I realized he was there. And of course, statue form, hands on your side. Yes, brother. No, brother.
Ugh, I'm so glad that I didn't live there as long as you did.
Well, I don't live there as long as you did because you were there until you were 18. I was just born later, so I saw more stuff after you left.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
do you remember, like, you have to remember all the metal sheets that were unloaded, and all of us, like, hauling underneath and carrying it all down the hill, and
Oh yes.
the
Oh
big
yes.
tunnels that we used with coffee cans to dig because we didn't have
Oh my
shovels.
gosh.
We used it, assembly lines of coffee cans, mothers, babies, little children, making assembly lines, kids 9, 10, 11 years old working the wheelbarrow, going back and forth, making an assembly line to
Oh
bury
yes.
all the wire, all the electrical cords and everything that were going down to the annex.
I remember baling hay.
Oh yes, I enjoyed baling
That
hay.
was one of my funnest chores.
Yes.
Or shearing sheep.
Yeah, that was another good. I liked shearing sheep because the people who sheared sheep were cool and they didn't expect you to be all perfect and you could actually horse around.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like
some of our next video, we should talk about some of our fun memories.
Yeah.
Because we have fun memories too.
We do. Us kids, we did a lot of crazy shit together.
I mean, our good we do have good memories. I mean, we had to learn how to make them. They're not like normal children's memories, but
no.
I mean, we didn't go to Disneyland or anything, but
no. But I mean, baling hay, we had a blast when we were baling hay.
I mean, anything we could to get out of sight and out of mind.
Yeah.
Making holes, or making a big ass hole in the brush pile.
Yeah.
And setting it on
fire. I forgot about doing that. Oh, we used to hide stuff in there too. We used to hide food and stuff in there, like candy and stuff, and hope nobody found it and go back and get it. I forgot about that.
All right, we're gonna end this video because it's the end of this video. So
yeah, and I'm tired. I'm ready to
call it a night.
Yeah. I can only talk so much and dwell on everything so much for so long, and then I just get tired. Like, I just have to shut my brain down and relax it. And I'm at that point right now. So
yep.
Yeah. So all right, awesome. Another good therapy. And we always end up talking for like an hour or two.
I know.
Even when we don't record.
What's the end of this? What's this video called? This is it. Video 6 or 7.
I think it's 6.
Oy, oy, oy. This one's 7.
Okay.
This is the end of 7.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll talk to you.
Fabulous again.
Talk to you tomorrow, probably.
Yes. Oh, well, I have a long day tomorrow at work. It's a full day. So I don't know if I'll be up to talking because the next day is another 12. So early too.
Whatever. I'll talk to you some other time.
I'll either text you tomorrow. I'll try to call if I can, but I can't promise.
Okay, sounds good. Have a good sleep.
You too.
All right, tell Brant hi.
I will. Love you.
Talk to you later. Love you too.
All right, bye.
Okay, bye-bye.